On this week's episode of Talk Your Exposure, we are joined by Ashley Frazier, who's a former Division I basketball player for the University of Arizona and a JUCO product as well out of South Plains. She currently owns her own basketball training program called Set Yourself Apart, and if you want to check her out on SYA Hoops on Instagram. But if you want to check out this episode, make sure you check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, under Talk Your Exposure, and on YouTube under RWA Basketball. Enjoy this episode with Ashley Frazier, and make sure to tune into all of our other episodes under Talk Your Exposure. Welcome to another edition of Talk Your Exposure. In today's episode, we got a very good one. We got a special one. Somebody that I actually cannot wait to talk to. We finally got her on the podcast, finally got her on the show after a couple of weeks. But you know what? They always say things are better when you wait for them anyways. So we've waited, and we cannot wait to dive into this person's story. But before we get to her story, I want to introduce or reintroduce my new co-host, the person that thinks he's sexier than I am with a bald head. He's not. He's really not.
Don't let me get the hat off.
Take the hat off, Chris.
It's me, not him. You know what I mean? We got.
I need music. We take the hat off. I need music. If I take the hat off.
If you take your hat off, people are going to stop watching our podcast. People are going to stop watching. You got to keep it on.
The demographic. I need demographic to take the hat
off. Hey, welcome. Hey, Chris Campbell, man. What's going on with you, man?
Yo, it's always good to be here. Steve, we know we're having fun out here. We about to do it again, another episode. It's, this has been a good experience. We having fun. I'm loving our guests. This has been long waiting for Ashley to be on a part of this. So nothing but to say, but let's get involved. It's cold outside right now, so let's keep this really hot and entertaining because we need to stay a little warm.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. And for people that don't know already, they could stay warm if they go to Talk Your Exposure and subscribe to them under Spotify, YouTube, anywhere they get their podcast, or if they want to watch it as well. So if you guys want to stay warm and you're tuned into this podcast, make sure you guys go to subscribe to Talk Your Exposure wherever you get your podcast from. But like I said, today's guest, it's all about her. It's not about us anymore, Chris. It's no longer about you and your bald head and me and my bald head. It's about this lady, and
the luscious beard. And the luscious beard.
No one cares about your beard either, Chris. Okay, nobody cares about your beard.
Crazy.
But today we got Ashley Frazier. Somebody who is right now. She's one of the better trainers that I've seen online. She's definitely coming into her own, and she's a former Division I basketball player as well. Ashley, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Stephen and Chris. I'm so honored to be here. Sorry it took so long to connect with you guys. Just a lot of moving pieces, top of the year, but I held my word, and I'm glad to be on you guys' show for sure.
Hey, we're happy that you're here, and to be quite honest with you, we're excited. Chris and I have been talking about you on our show for quite some time. We've dove a little bit into your story in terms of what we've been able to find. We want to hear from you personally about your story. But before we get to your story, we always like to heat up the show a little bit with a little game. And today's game we got In a Perfect World. So pretty much what's gonna happen, we're gonna say in a perfect world, and then we're gonna create a sentence for you afterwards that you're gonna say, or you're gonna respond to. So,
okay.
In a perfect world, would you play for one team? Sorry, in a perfect world, which team would you play for in the WNBA?
The Wings.
The Wings?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
I just like the dynamics of their team. I'm from Dallas. Dallas up and down everything besides, football and baseball and basketball. Let's just say that for the most part. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I this is not part of the game, but I do got to ask you. I know you're from Dallas and everything like that. Please, I know you said you mentioned you're not a Dallas Cowboys fan, which is great. So who are you representing in the NFL?
No one.
Good answer. I'll take that.
I do not care about any other sport, guys. I'm so serious. I do not care.
Perfect.
None.
I'm an Eagles fan, so I actually hate the Cowboys with a passion, to be honest with you.
Oh, wow. Everyone hates the Cowboys, though. For what
because they suck. That's why. Because they suck.
Hey, I don't care.
Yo, you go say it like that? Come on, Steven.
Anyways, shame on me.
Hey, teach his own. It's okay.
Back to the game, actually, I want to ask you, though, who would you want to play with in the WNBA? If you could pick any two people in the WNBA, who would you want to play with?
Does it have to be recent? Can it be?
Let's
like
say in the last 5 years.
Let me think, because I don't really have favorites. Like any like my hands down favorite player of all time is Steve Nash. So I couldn't point out like one, like a college or a WNBA or like particularly now NBA. I couldn't point one out. Like I respect everyone's game, but I think, and we can probably get into, why Steve Nash later, but it would definitely be maybe even if I was like mentored under somebody or coached beside somebody, it would definitely be Steve Nash, but not to disrespect the women's game or anything. He's just my go-to, just hands down, all the way around.
I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Canadian, his name is Steve. That's two double positives. Yes, his name is Steve and he's Canadian, Chris. You have an issue with that?
Really? You're gonna hopefully if Steve Nash bald his head, you'd be happier too, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. If he bald his head and grew a beard, he'd be perfect.
Y'all are crazy.
Obviously, Ashley, you're a trainer, obviously. If you were in the WNBA right now or even continuously still playing, who would you want to train you? Any trainer in the world, who would you want to train you?
Man. Let me see. There's so many trainers. And to be honest with you guys, I follow trainers, but I don't indulge behind, you know what I mean? Like really follow them like that. Like I look up to them in a sense. You know what? I do like Gannon Baker.
Okay. I don't think I've ever heard of that person before, but
you've never heard of him?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he's very fundamentally sound. He's not about like the rah-rah, he's more like basics, fundamentals, having energy, knowing your strong points, knowing your weak points, how to be a successful player on and off the court. So I think from the mental aspect and the game aspect, it would definitely be Gannon Baker.
And we're going to talk about that fundamentals in a little bit. But to be honest with you, there's a lot of questionable things that trainers do these days that I am not very fond of. I train people down here. I train people down here. Both Chris and myself, we're coaches down here in Toronto. However, there's a lot of shit down here that I was like, oh my God, what are you teaching these kids? But anyways, we'll get to that in a little bit. But before we move on and ask you about what inspired you to become a basketball trainer, I want you to give a shout out to yourself and to your training company and where people can find you on social media.
Okay, so hey guys, my name is Ashley Frazier. My business is SYA Hoops Academy, and SYA stands for Set Yourself Apart. And I've been officially in business for 2 years, but I've been training since 2011, ever since I left college. And I'm located in Dallas, Texas. I have had people, inquire about me coming to train in their area. Nothing of that nature has happened yet. People have come to Dallas, but I will travel, and I do take on people and clients that travel to Dallas. I train second grade through what's the highest level? Second grade through the pro leagues. Nobody in the NBA or WNBA, but more so overseas. So, I have a good wide range of, the talent and skill levels that I train.
That's dope. If we're ever in Texas or Dallas in particular, I should say, we're definitely gonna hit you up and come get some training. Even though I need to get back in the gym for real. I'm out of shape. You'll
shake back. Give yourself a month. You'll shake back real quick.
I like that. You see that, Chris? That's positivity. I'm like you.
Chris rolled his eyes.
All of a sudden, he started caring about his bald head and his beard more than his body. So I don't know.
Chris seems like he knows you pretty well, Steven. I don't know.
Hey, Chris is my guy, man. Chris is my guy. We know each other for damn near a decade almost. That's my guy. So that's why when him and I talk now, it's normal. It is normal. Yeah, it is normal. That's why I can say these things to him and he won't get offended. I might get offended, but he won't get offended.
Oh my God. We Aries brothers. That's another thing too. We Aries brothers. So
there you go. We are Aries brothers. Actually, I want to ask you though, what inspired you to become a basketball trainer?
It's just innate, dude. Like, to be honest with you guys, I tried to get away from basketball when I finished at the University of Arizona. I was just tired. I was extremely tired, physically drained, mentally drained. It was just a lot on me. That lasted for probably about 6 months. And I got drawn right back into it. I guess I just needed a break. I don't know.
There you go.
I just needed a break. But the inspiration really comes from, so I know you did a little bit of research, but I'm small, like a very small guard, 5'5", right? And seeing a lot of the other players when I first started training, they were small girls. They were really tiny. And so I had the leadership ability because I was a point guard all my life. So I knew how to lead and, guide a player in the direction that they wanted to go and bring confidence out of them, even though, they didn't think they had any, or they lacked it. But it's just really at this point right now, it's seeing these kids get to the next level. But then again, the mental aspect is big on it, because now I don't know what's going on in today's world, but the mental aspect of anything in kids' life is just, it seems like the smallest thing that could have been for us is like 10 times worse for them nowadays. And so it's like really holding their hand throughout the process. Of course, making sure they're doing what they're supposed to do, but having basketball is kind of an avenue to be able to learn how to deal with other things that are going to come hard in life. Because for a lot of players, especially the AAU route, there's so many politics, dude. Like, it's getting bad. Don't get me started.
We definitely we definitely are going to get you started in a little bit.
Oh,
Best believe.
Yeah, and the parents are starting to catch wind of it, and it's just really just at this point guiding people in the right direction. I've been gifted with the ability to play basketball, to coach it, to train kids, and to also be there, as a mentor for them. So that's my biggest thing, man. It's all about the kids and their mental health, and then also enhancing their game, of course, because they, most of them want to go play D1 anyway, which is not the case for all of them. That doesn't happen. But, that's what they want to do. So I'm going to do everything in my power to get them there, while also keep them in a mentally good space as much as I can from the time that I have them.
No, for sure. And to be quite honest, there's a lot of people out there that I feel like don't give the right guidance to these kids. And I'm not suggesting it's anybody on this call right now, but I'm saying this generally. Like, there's a lot of people out there that will take their money and will still know in the back of their head, yeah, you're not really gonna go anywhere. When the reality is that people need to be we need to be mentors to them. So for me, it's kind of like, it's difficult for me sometimes to see a kid in grade 12 and look at me in my eyes and be like, I'm gonna go Division I. I'm this good. I am that good. And I'm looking at you saying, no, you're really not.
Yeah.
And that's the most difficult thing for me as a trainer and me as a coach, is because I'm a nice person sometimes when I want to be. And the thing with me is that
continue talking. We're listening.
Chris, I'm gonna come for you, okay? I'm about to attack. But anyways, long story short though, like all jokes aside, when it comes to these kids, I feel like it's up to us to be the person that's going to be like, hey, you know what? Maybe Division I's not for you, but let's look at a different route for you. Let's look to see what we can possibly do for you. Like you mentioned earlier, you said maybe it's not basketball, but it might be something else. But at the same time though, maybe they still want to be part of the game, but they want to train, or they want to coach. They would want to do whatever it is. So it's just difficult to have those conversations. But I feel like at the same time, I feel like we all need to be honest with kids, and all need to tell them how it is and what they need to do to get there. The problem is though, that there's too many kids these days watching Steph Curry, watching Kyrie, watching all these fancy players. I think that everything for them is glitz and glamour, and that's how they're going to get there. But the reality is, Steph Curry wasn't really Steph Curry when he was in high school, nor was Steph Curry the way Steph Curry in university or college. So for me in particular, it's like, you got to get there and got to go there. But it also comes down from the fact of being with the right trainer. And for me personally, I personally feel like there's way too many pro trainers in the world, but they all make things very difficult. You know,
Yeah.
how do you like, to me, like you mentioned the training you talked about earlier, simplifies the game for these kids. 1 dribble pull up, 2 dribble pull up, you know, counter moves off it, different counters to the rim, et cetera, et cetera. But they make it so much difficult by going tween, sidestep, in and out, boom, 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 boom. Yeah. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing with the great 11-year-old or 12-year-old? They don't even know how to freaking do a left-hand layup.
Yeah.
So what would you say, or how do you explain the game to simplify it for kids or athletes that you train?
I dumb it down even for, you know, the top level athletes. Everything's dumbed down, even from like a 15-minute warm up to my 5th grade. It's just, I don't think trainers pay enough attention to the minute details. Like they can tell you, okay, 1 dribble right is going to be right, left, right footwork, but they don't show them. They don't make sure their spacing is correct. They don't make sure the pickup of the ball is correct. The release is correct. The body and the balance is correct. I don't think they do. I can't speak for everyone, but I have seen this. I don't think there's enough instruction. I think there's more so, let's get this done. Let's move on. Let's record this because it looks good and post it. And then let's move on to something else. I don't know. I think a lot of trainers do watch NBA and that's what they show the kids. But you have to understand, like, did you play? Were you not 11 years old at one point? And even if you played in college, what did you do at 11 years old? You did the basics. Like people don't stick. Now, once a player gets the basics down, right, then you can go into like between the leg snatch. But then even with that, you have to make sure they're not going half speed. You have to make sure the footwork, they're on their toes. You have to make sure they're not leaning back on a shot. It's like, I think it's a money thing for a lot of people, to be honest with you. I think kids sports is like a couple $1 billion industry. I do feel like it's extremely oversaturated. And I don't think the trainers really care for the kids at the end of it all, or the parents. I think it's very selfish of a lot of people, of a lot of trainers. Extremely selfish. Because they don't understand what it takes. That's why I say Gannon Baker. He's very structural. Now, he's not going to do some of the other things. Like I've trained some of my athletes to do certain movements, but they can handle that. I'm not going to show you the next step if I know you cannot even execute this in a game. We're not going to learn this. Hey, coach, my kids ask me, hey, coach, can we learn that move that you showed Sam and Simone? Can you make 10 left-hand layups in a row going full speed? No. Okay, no. Like, no, we're not moving on to that's too much for you. Right? So I don't think trainers focus enough on the basics and really the betterment of the athlete. I think it's more so of an ego booster for likes and comments and shares, to be honest.
My last question here before we jump on to Chris, but how do you think social media has ruined training or basketball to today?
Man, I was late. I think I was late. And it's constantly growing even more. You know, every time you go to a different app, there's some type of basketball skill breakdown, or, you know, another trainer here, another trainer there. I think it's evolved tremendously. Like I said, I was late to the game. I never wanted to be on camera, or myself particularly on camera. I just wanted my kids' game to show for what my training, you know, was producing. I think it's a good tool to have, but I feel like when people overindulge on looking at other people's work, they start to become copycats and mimics. And like little puppets to the game. And that's why I don't really do a lot of looking at what other people do, because I know myself. I'm very authentic in what I do. So I stick to my lane, and I'm not afraid that if I go down somebody's page and just look at every single video I may take 1 or 2 things, but I'm really nitpicking on, they probably could have, that they didn't particularly explain to that kid why they're doing it, or they could have went more in depth of explaining, you know, why they were doing what they were doing. And, you know, I do that with my own. I analyze some of my videos. I'm like, Ashley, that was just trash. I'm so hard on myself. I'm like, Ashley, you did not explain to the best of your ability, you know what I mean? So they can completely comprehend, but I'm just hard on myself in that manner. I think it's a good and bad thing. I think it's more so bad than good, to be honest with you. But if you use it for the right reasons, you know, I think the boom in, you know, the basketball being on social media, I think it is what it is. Just depend on the person that's, you know, taking it in.
Well said.
That's well said. Well said. It's okay being your biggest critique. You should be your biggest critique in everything you do. So don't be too hard on yourself, but you should be always.
Oh yeah, I can't help it. It's all right.
It's natural. But you know, let's take a side step from training for a second. You know, talk about your upbringing.
So I grew up in Dallas, Texas. I went to Duncanville High School, graduated from there. Then I went to South Plains Junior College out in West Texas, about 30 minutes from Texas Tech. I went there 2 years, and then I went to the University of Arizona. Then I came back to Dallas. But as far as playing, so I started out playing soccer until age 11. Then that's when I went full on into basketball. My brother, he could handle the ball like no other. So he really taught me like some of the fancy stuff that I didn't use when I was a kid, but you know, he would always challenge me to go out there and play with them. Yeah, I played up until high school. Really good club team, really quick, small guards. We didn't have a lot of bigs, but we had a lot of heart. So we beat everybody for the most part. My AAU coach was crazy. He was a nutcase. He'll probably cuss me out now if he heard this, but he was crazy. Do y'all know Andrea Raleigh?
No.
She went to Oklahoma, then she played WNBA for a while. So her dad was our coach, and we played together. He was crazy. She a little crazy too, y'all. If she ever watches this, I've told her before, so it's nothing. Yeah, just basketball all the time. You know, going to parks. We didn't really have trainers. I didn't have a trainer. Trainers like that. We just kind of went to the park, did our own thing. I did have one guy that kind of mentored me a little bit as far as, you know, getting me prepared to go play in college. His name was Randy, so forever thankful for him. But that was probably the only outside training I ever had. He was this older guy that worked at a news station. So he just kind of saw something in me. He's like, hey, let's go to the gym. Yeah, didn't do too much travel ball when I played. It was more so local. I don't know if travel ball was really like that prevalent back then. Was it, guys? Can you guys remember that? I'm 33, so it was like
that would have been. You're not 33. You're 25.
Yeah, something like that. You know, give or take.
But what? So in 2006, 2005? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't really play AU basketball until I was in grade 10. That was 2008. 2008. Yeah. So that's when it was. That's when it was for me. I don't know about the old head, the OG up ahead. You know, saying I'm talking about by the OG. I mean you, Chris.
I know. Yeah. You know, there was travel ball, but it was really different back then. Like, you got to really be in that circle to be traveling at that time. And if you weren't in that circle of traveling and playing ball all the time and finding a part of certain groups that always travel, then you wouldn't do it. And not that many people were traveling those times. Like, not that many groups were actually going across and doing it in summertime. Yeah. So it was a lot of pickup ball, but for you to be doing the AAU stuff or that type of AAU thing that we didn't know about, was like you were really, this guy's like, yo, you're balling, you're top of this, and then kind of build that group, and that group will go across, and there's like very few people who are taking guys across. So I'm not calling me old head. I just realized what you said, you know, it just came back to me, Stephen.
Just now catching that.
You're calling it right now, Stephen. That's all. I'll get you for that. But that's kind of how how it was then. And now it's just changed. Now you got everybody going across, and it doesn't matter if it's
crazy
EF type of team. they're going across to find somewhere to play and just slap an AAU across it. So
Yep.
it changed a lot, when it comes to that. So you're right. It wasn't. I don't feel it's like us. It was like if you were in a circle, you knew about it. There's very few people kind of doing on that circuit, and even when you're on that circuit, I think back in those times, high school ball was still number one for getting seen or recruited. It's not now AAU. You don't have to play high school and play AAU and be seen. So, which is totally different, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you talked about your brother was helping you get started in basketball. So what age was that roughly? Like what age? You never really pointed out. What age?
Oh, well, playing with my brother probably started around 9. Okay. So once I was playing, and you play for like the city league.
Yeah, of course.
City league. So I was playing, city league or whatever. And then age 11, I was like, okay, I don't want to play soccer. I don't want to be outside. I'm done with being outside sports. But it was great. It helped with my footwork, right? I was really quick, agile, whatever. But city league, and then, from there, once I went to middle school. So basically, Duncanville High School is like really well known for their girls basketball program. Nationally, like they are known. So when I was in middle school, my mom was like, okay, we're going to move out of Duncanville and move to like South Dallas. I'm like, no, I'm not moving. I said, no, we can't move. And she was like, what? Mind you, I'm in middle school trying to tell my mama what to do.
Right?
I said, she don't pay no bills in here. I said, no, we're not moving. She's like, why? I said, because I want to play for Coach Kathy Self-Morgan. And she was the high school coach. And she would come to our middle school practices and see who had potential to be on JV and varsity. Right. And so I was like in awe when she came because I knew about the program. Right. Because Tiffany Jackson went through the program. I believe Cheryl Swoops went through. So it's like that we had like girls go or women go through Duncanville High School. So I'm like, okay, no, like I know I love basketball. I want to play for her. So we stayed. 9th grade year, I was JV. Halfway through the year, I got moved up to varsity. There were a lot of bigger, stronger guards in front of me. So my 10th grade year is when I started. So after my 9th grade year, I moved up. I played a little bit. I played just a little bit. And then 10th grade year, that's when I started playing, starting on varsity after those. I mean, we had some dogs. They were so big. I'm so small, y'all. Like they were big. They were like big guards. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But I could hang with them. But again, they've been there. They were seniors, junior seniors, so whatever. Then from there, I got recruited from a couple of D1s, but nothing that I really wanted in a sense. I don't know if it was like God telling me something to like, Ashley, you just need to just take a couple more years to like, grow your game. And so I ended up going to visit South Plains Junior College. And I knew some of the girls that went there or that were going there, and that went there because a lot of them were from the Dallas area, like Lincoln High School, a couple of other schools, and we just meshed really well. I didn't feel like when I went on the visits to the other schools, it didn't really hit me like this is where I want to be. So I didn't pick them. And to be honest with you guys, I never thought that I would play D1. I just love hooping. That's it. Like I just like to hoop all the time. Yeah, go ahead.
So you say you love hooping all the time, right? So like I'm gonna flashback for a second. So you're in JV, in grade 9, and in the middle of it, you get pushed up to varsity, right? So through all this basketball time, because you say it very a lot. Like you're really small, and so it's all big heart. Your big heart. So during the whole process from when you playing, leaving soccer to basketball, there's never been a time where you got kind of frustrated, like, you know what, I'm done with basketball, or I don't play this game anymore. Never a time you question it. No. It was all 100% basketball. Yeah. You basically like loving basketball. It's all about that's all you see. Yeah, I didn't really hang out with, like, I had friends, but I didn't really
I was hooping. Like,
Wow.
I got a red card and I
Like
was
that.
hooping. Yeah. It was like,
that.
yeah, so it was ball was life, like literally, and getting good grades. I got good grades too, by the way.
That was a trade off with mom.
Yeah, I got good grades. So I ended up at South Plains Junior College. We did extremely well. Extremely well. I actually hold a couple of records there. I hope I still hold some records there. Oh man, that was a long time ago. I haven't checked in years.
Sorry to cut you off, but we actually know someone that went to South Plains as well. Chris, Giovanni Scott went there.
Oh yes, right. He did it.
Yeah. Giovanni Scott went to South Plains. So shout out South Plains, man. Shout out South Plains and all the coaches that are there right now. Shout out to you for breaking a record there too, or holding some record, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's still there. But South Plains typically has a good girls and boys program though. Like from the last time I checked, they typically do. Yeah. And so from there, I started getting looked at by it was University of Arizona, Arizona State, Arkansas Pine Bluff, and a school in Louisiana. I can't really remember. So I went to visit Arizona State. It was cool. I didn't really like the atmosphere though. I just didn't. And then I went to University of Arizona. I'm like, okay. I fell in love as soon as I walked on the campus. So I chose University of Arizona, and from there, we did well. It was a very strong conference. Like that was totally different from JUCO ball. Like it was an easy transition because I was going to hoop regardless. I don't care who I'm playing, right? But just the level of competition was like steps above, the JUCO route. Yeah. And I had some teammates that could hoop. They were good. But when you're playing, all the guards at Stanford being 6 foot, 6'2", like
you 5'5".
Yeah, it was a I didn't see it as a challenge. I saw it as okay, let's go. But it was just I could just see the difference from JUCO to, the D1 level. And the conditioning and strength and conditioning. Oh, Jesus Christ. That was a bit much. But it was a good run. And, after it was done, I came back to Dallas and, started back up here.
So
I mean, since we're
no, go ahead.
I was just going to continue her Arizona time, her time in Arizona.
I really, you know what? To the bald head, can we continue?
Listen, this is the only bald head. I'm about to change the name of the podcast to one bald head and one half bald head. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's one half.
Half on a bald head?
Huh?
Can you say a bald head and a half and a bald head and a hat?
You ruined the joke.
A bald head and a hat. Ah, got it, Chris.
No, that was
She's quick. You need to pick up.
Ashley, stop supporting him. Stop encouraging him. Stop.
Man,
Hey, but Ashley too. Huh?
Just continue, Stephen. I think you should continue.
I think I should too. But we're too busy focused on your stupid hat.
It's crazy.
But okay, fair enough. Well,
yeah.
Speaking of a new coach, though, a former WNBA player, Dia Barnes, comes in and brings the Wildcats to their first Final Four and finals appearance this past season. How excited were you to be able to watch that, knowing that you're an alumni?
Oh, I was hyped. Like even when I see that Duncanville win state, it's like I was a part of that. You know what I mean? It's like kudos to them because they're the ones doing the work, putting in the work. But just to know that, I was a part of that, like you said, that alumni, which is awesome. A lot of the people that I train, they're like, Ashley, are you excited? Are you excited? Because they all know I played in Arizona, right? I'm like, yeah, that's good. That's great. I don't get may seem a little dry. I don't get overly excited for like when Arizona wins or Duncanville wins. That's their win, but I am proud to have gone through their systems. You know what I mean? So, Yeah, I think it's a dope thing. I can't remember the last time Arizona women's won. We didn't win. I know that much when I was there. I know we didn't win. So, I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome. And Arizona is definitely, I tell all my guards, like, if you can get to Arizona, go to Arizona, just because Arizona, Tucson is a lot different from Dallas. And a lot of the girls, particularly my girls that look like me, little Black girls, if they don't like travel a lot and everything, like, it's just that the weather, the atmosphere, everything is just different in Tucson, Arizona. Now, it's not like fast paced as Arizona State is, but you get to see something different. You're around different people. You can kind of get a little bit more diverse in the way you view things, the way you view life, because I know that's what happened with me. So I encourage kids to go to, University of Arizona for sure. Mostly my girls, not the boys, but the men's have a great program too. But I played there, so mostly the girls.
Not like you mentioned earlier, you're a coach, you're also a trainer. One of the biggest things as a coach, we always look for the little things to improve our teams, to get our teams better. During your time in Arizona, you're on the NCAA stage, cameras are everywhere, fans are cheering, and your coach is screaming at you. Have you ever been crossed or backdoored so badly you had to look at your coach and ask for a sub?
No. No. Typically, I was doing the crossing and backdooring, so no. Okay. I took pride in my defense. I don't know how kids are getting their ankles broken left and right nowadays. I don't get it. Like, why is defense so bad now? But no, I had to ask for a sub because I was tired and I couldn't. That's the first time though. I think it was like one of the last games that we played, and my body could just not take it. Like, I couldn't take it. And I know I was doing my team a disservice by being on the court, not giving half effort. I was giving full effort, but my body could not move. Like, it had like broken down or something. So that was the only time. Other than that, I've never asked for a sub, like, for getting crossed or embarrassed. No.
Give us your best crossover that you had, or best crossover moment that you've had on somebody.
Best crossover moment. I would say it was a step back.
Okay.
It was the Iverson crossover to a step back, and this was in junior college. I love Iverson crossover, by the way. Like, that was my jam, boy. Hey, I'm like, I asked my kids, have you ever seen the Iverson crossover? Who? Like, oh my God, never mind. I'll show you. I'll just show you. But it was an Iverson crossover. It was like 3 seconds left. I was top of the key. Iverson crossover. I crossed from left to right. I'm left-handed, so I wanted to go cross. I dig a little bit more to the left. Came right. The girl started running to cut me off. I hit her with a step back, knocked it down right as the buzzer hit.
I can see that.
Jeez. Yeah. Tough.
Yeah, I was hyped. Yeah. That was it.
There we go. One last question I have for you, and then, like I said, we're back on to Chris, even though we don't really want him to be on, but it's okay. But
I have Chris gonna get you, Steve. No, he's gonna get you.
Chris gonna get me bad, to be honest with you. I'm just waiting for it. He gonna get me bad. He's actually very funny. Chris is a funny and comedian. He's a comedian, so I'm just waiting for the moment that he's about to get my ass.
Tear you up, Steve.
Excited.
Last question I have for you. Women's basketball is currently evolving. Athletically, height-wise, speed and pace is all changing for the better. Before, I felt like women's basketball was being overlooked, but now I feel like everyone's supporting and watching. What are your thoughts on the evolution of women basketball?
I think it's about time. I think it's been time. I think just girls, women, and young ladies in general, I don't feel like they get the respect that they deserve, or we deserve. You know what I mean? And that can be on any platform: basketball, business, being the head of a household if she has to, if her significant other, if they agree to that. I don't feel like women are any different from men. And I love that the game is getting as much recognition as it is. And, you know, the things that girls are doing now, we did back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's just like exploding. Exploding. And it's funny, guys, like I get comments, and this just started happening. I get comments from dudes like having something to say about the girls I'm training. Like they just talking noise. It's just like, y'all just need something to say. Like you're unhappy with yourselves and your lives or whatever. But I love it. It's like y'all took that much time. Y'all took 30 seconds, a minute 30 to watch the whole video. And then you took 30 seconds to critique the video. Like, thank you. Thank you. Like the girls are doing something right. Like, thank you. You know what I mean? So I think it's a great thing. I think, you know, from the men's side of things, bringing more recognition to girls ball, the social media platforms that highlight girls basketball, I think it's phenomenal, you know, because, you know, of course, boys and men are bigger, faster, stronger, but everything they can do, the girls can do too. So I think it's a wonderful thing. I don't think it's going anywhere either. I know, you know, so I'm happy, I'm proud, for sure.
I seen the other day, I seen a girl catch a lob, and I was like, what? Like
I did too. I said,
I've never
what?
seen that before. I was like, whoa, we're in a different world right now. We're definitely it's evolving. It's gonna get better. It's gonna get more hype, you know. And the whole reason why the WNBA wasn't looked at or was watched over before was because of the lack of athleticism. But in my mind, I'll be honest with you, I actually like watching WNBA and women's basketball because y'all play it so simple. You keep it simple. You make the right plays. You make the right reads. And if anybody actually watches women's basketball, they'll know that you guys are one of the smartest basketball players out there. Even, you know, you'll hear it from someone like a LeBron James. You'll hear it from Chris Paul. Those two guys in particular are very smart as well. And they're openly saying the women's basketball is a lot more smarter than men's basketball. We're just more athletic, and I put that in quotes and heavily in quotes because, again, the way the women's basketball and women's bodies are changing these days, that's no longer going to be the case. And I can't wait for the day that we can look at all these women that are faster, stronger, more athletic, and, you know, things like better shooters, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And now it's like, okay, it's a new NBA. You know what I mean? It's a new NBA. So I can't wait for that day to happen, to be honest with you.
Hey, it's funny you say that because, you know, I coach girls and boys. I've coached and I train girls and boys, and girls want to get it right. They can be very structural sometimes. Boys, they just like, go. Boy, if you don't slow down, like look but then sometimes girls overthink. But then I think it takes those elite athletes that, okay, I have the skill set. After playing so many games or watching film or whatever, I understand the situation. Now that's a handful of people. That's not a lot of girls, to be honest with you, that could actually play to that caliber. But they're more, I would say, more analytical in a sense. And that's what I was. I'm still super analytical. That's why I'm so detailed with my training. Like, I probably over teach these kids sometimes, but I want you to get it right to the point to where you can't get it wrong. You know what I mean? And it becomes second nature. So when you do it in a game, it's like reactive. You don't have to think about it. But yeah, I think that girls just take more time to actually think about what's going on. It's a quick thought, but they take a second to think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Instead of just going. Yeah.
For sure.
You know, just to add to what I love about coaching girls, I had a chance to coach both of them, is that you can go almost a whole season trying to get girls to understand something, but once they get it, they got it.
It takes a whole season, Chris. It takes a whole season.
But it's true. But boys, it takes like years. So I can teach boys something all season. Come back next season, I gotta reteach it again. Come back next season, I gotta reteach it again. When women get it, they got it. Yeah. And that's the difference. That's the difference I noticed when coaching between the two for me personally. That's what I love. And as Steven said it, I like watching WNBA and watching women's basketball a lot more because you can see the fundamentals and you can point out and you're like, look, that's a proper cut. Look, that's a proper, you can talk about things a lot easier. While boys, it's like, he just athletic. He just got by because he was you know, so, so it's,
right.
it's when you talk about the difference in the game, that's how it's when you're coaching, you got to adjust for those two things. But, you know, This week, speaking about women's basketball, let's talk more about WNBA. WNBA has really changed the culture, like how you look at basketball. And for fans watching league for the first time, or let's actually, before I can get into that, let's think about how WNBA changed for Black Lives Matter. When we came, that whole movement there alone, WNBA was first to step up and talk about
they were strong on that.
They're very strong on that.
Yeah.
When it came to T-shirts, the national and all those things. How did you feel about that?
I think it was needed. I think it was definitely needed. I feel like the WNBA feel like, they haven't gotten what they deserved for years. And then they really stood by something that they felt strongly about, like as a unit. And I think it was great for the culture, for the world, period. And I actually think that probably brought more recognition to the WNBA from that standpoint, because they were the one community that's like, we're all behind this, you know what I mean? Opposed to one person on the football field, or, you know what I mean? It's like the whole environment of the WNBA. We're back behind that. So I actually do think that like kind of boosted girls basketball as well. Now that you say that, I never even thought about it in that perspective. But yeah, I definitely think that's where the shift really, really started to happen. Like it's been happening, but the Black Lives Matter movement and then the WNBA coming together, because some people were like afraid to even
do that.
They felt it. Yeah, they felt compelled to stand up for it, but they were afraid to do it. And they all did it. Like, I don't care what nobody say, what y'all think, this is how we feel. And I mean, all the women from overseas, out the country, black, white, like whatever, like they were all behind. I think that was dope for sure.
I like that. You're right. I think that's right. That's another that put a lot more cameras on it. And and also let's think about too, like WNBA has given women and girls a voice. Like, we think about Candace Parker, we think about Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi,
Sue Bird.
Yeah, Sue Bird, we got that. And all spoken, all these women are so big importance to how basketball is seen and heard. And they set the standard for when you look at how men look at NBA. You look at the Michael Jordans and the Larry Birds and so on. Since when? So now you're looking at it now. WNBA, the finals that got packed up. They're more sold out. People are coming to watch it. People talk about it more regularly. The viewership has gone up. All these things has happened. Talk about how big this really is.
How big is like the movement of like women's basketball?
Yeah,
or WNBA?
And now all of a sudden we talked about the Black Lives Matter, and we opened it up, and now we have, like I said, the finals got a lot more crowd. People are talking about it.
Yeah,
sold out tickets, so on. It's just changed. Let's talk about it. How do you feel about that right now? This movement right now.
I think it's going to keep growing. I know specifically. Well, first of all, a lot of the, I mentioned the Dallas Wings, like a lot of the little girl school teams and club teams, they always pack out the Wings arena.
Oh, nice.
Like they're always there. But also the Wings behind the scenes staff, I think they do a good job of inviting people. But yeah, because they've reached out to me a couple times, right? But the kids actually go, the parents go, they enjoy that. And then a couple of years ago, when the Final Four, the women's NCAA Final Four was in Dallas, packed, sold out, one of the biggest arenas in Dallas for that tournament, for the Final for women's basketball. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. You know what I mean? I think it's just, it's a girls' empowerment move. Like it's really empowering for young girls.
I like that. It's a girl empowerment movement. Like I like.
Yeah,
that.
It is. It is, because you see sports as such a boy thing to do, a man thing to do. These girls are out here starting to dunk. They crossing people over. It's like, wow. Like I'm even like, wow, sometimes, and it's being shown more often because of social media. When we hoop like that, We weren't posting stuff on social media. Like we had tape recorders, big old tape recorders and VCRs. VCRs, like we didn't have this. We didn't have this to be shown. Like, and I just think it's great that I see it on my feed every day. Like, to be honest with you guys, I will watch a girl training before I watch a boy training. Like,
makes sense.
Yeah, it's like they're just more fundamentally sound. Boys can kind of get away with it sometimes. I'm not gonna say all the time because I've trained some boys that needed some work. They were super athletic, but the skill set and the fundamentals they didn't have. They didn't understand it, and it took them longer to understand it than girls did. I'm like, dude, how are you this athletic, but you can't get this simple? If when I tell you to do it and show you, you're having such a hard time. They're like, I don't know, coach. It's amazing. It amazes me. Like, I'm like, okay. But again, I'm not gonna say I hope it keeps going because it's going to. There's no way that it won't, and it's probably open up doors to other women's sports. You know, so I don't know what you guys think.
Bring a team to Toronto. Bring a team to Toronto because, and I'm not just saying that because I'm being biased. First of all, I'm saying it for two reasons. One, because if there is women's basketball here in Toronto, we'd be all over it. Because the way that the market right now is at an all-time high with the Raptors winning the championship 3 years ago. There's a lot of women and a lot of girls who want to get into basketball, but don't feel comfortable getting into, I've heard this from females in particular, getting to a man sport. And I use those quotes very, very, very highly because of the fact, again, I don't think that way, but it's something that I've heard from women in particular.
Yeah, for sure.
They feel like they don't have the same exposure. They don't have the same opportunities. They don't have the same resources. So for me personally, I would love to see a team in Toronto locally at home for these women and these girls to be able to feel like they have more opportunity, more resources, and have more information to be able to talk to more, the NBA, WNBA women, talk to people who are actually give them the time. Because let's be real, not all the time do these NBA players give the women the time. So if women can give women back, like you said earlier, women empowerment, which I love, by the way, and I'm for once in this whole podcast, I actually agree with Chris on that statement. But
it's recorded. It's recorded. It's recorded.
No, but all jokes aside, I love the fact that we talked about women empowerment because I really feel like, especially for these little girls who are in the teenagers and they're confused and lost and don't know where to go, and there's only one or two people that take them under their wing and feel like even those people don't always know what they're talking about. I would love for a team to be here locally in Toronto and in Canada, so we can give these women an opportunity to gain more exposure and gain more opportunities and gain more resources. I would love for that.
Oh, that'd be amazing. That'd be amazing.
And relatable stories. And the relatable stories. Like, it's a little different when you see that. And, just to add, to piggyback on what Steven said, all positive stuff, is that when people like yourself who played the game and other people and seeing on the court, that level, and you're able to reach out, talk to them, see yourself as that, I can be like her. It's a little different. I always remember back, I'm gonna get a flashback story when Raptors finally came to Toronto, right? From before that, we used to watch it on TV, looking forward to watch it on television. But when Toronto Raptors actually came here, and we used to, the place called Skydome here, we used to go down Skydome and watch the game. It just changed the way we saw NBA. As ball, because now I'm like, well, that's actually the player I see on TV in Toronto playing on the court. And you now look it up, you now research and look into a little bit more. And I feel the same thing with females. Like, if they come now and we have WNBA here and you see that player, you see Candace, oh my goodness, look at her right there in front of me. I could do that. I could be that. It's a lot different, right?
Yeah. I mean, environment is key.
Yeah, very, very
environment is key. I can't really say who you surround yourself with, but who you can, be in contact with, even that. Like, I know you said, Steve, that some girls don't feel like they have the opportunity or the resources. Sometimes you have to go above and beyond to kind of go get those things, and acquire those things. And if somebody, even if you could, I don't know, like what type of connections you have, or like to put on a camp or clinic and bring on a camp or clinic for girls and bring someone, a WNBA or college player to come speak, women's, player to come speak to the girls so that they can kind of see, you know what I mean? Like, oh, this is somebody that's done it at that level in the flesh. You know what I mean?
Well, that's actually why I started this podcast. Before we brought Chris onto the show, I started this podcast last year, 2020, end of 2020. I just wanted to give back to the kids to hear from different stories and hear from different people. Because I felt like during a pandemic, I mean, this whole pandemic has been, in my honest opinion, it's been hard for a lot of kids. It's been, traumatizing for them. They've been going through, you talk about mental health earlier. Shoot, the amount of depression that we've had has been at an all-time high, especially in Toronto. You wouldn't, I mean, if I told you this right now, you probably wouldn't believe me if I was to tell you that we're in our 4th lockdown currently at the moment. So meanwhile, I'm seeing Texas is wide open and you guys are playing basketball. You guys are playing with packed fans, no mask on. Things are great over there. Meanwhile, over here, we're just coming. Our premier just made a announcement today saying that we can finally go back to sports and basketball starting January 31st. We're in our 4th lockdown currently at the current moment. So when we talk about, mental health, we talk about depression, we talk about resources and things like that, like you talked about earlier, I started this podcast specifically as another resource for them to be able to hear stories from people like yourself, from former NBA players, from former WNBA players, from former whatever it might be, people that can relate, because there's so many stories that are out there that we don't hear all the time. But to be able to give the platform to, at least for our kids that can listen, from 18 and under, 19 and under, even people that are older that still don't have no idea what they want to do, but still want to play basketball, but couldn't because they couldn't play basketball the last 2 years because at high school level. Now this platform is designed for them to listen, stay encouraged, stay motivated, and continue to progress and continue to get better through. So this whole point of this podcast was specifically for these kids, because I wanted them to be able to change their perspective on everything being hard, but changing it into a, you know what, it's going to be hard, but now by hearing from someone like yourself, I heard from Ashley today, now I'm going to be motivated, I'm good to go, because she went through the same thing I went through X amount of years ago. You know what I mean? So for that was the whole point of this podcast, which is why, I mean, I've never actually spoken about it on the podcast before, but to be able to kind of give it an idea and a grasp of what this is for, this is another resource of what we're talking about to motivate. So I love what you're saying, try to get a camp or a clinic or something, because Chris and I both have something in the works at the end of May. But most definitely though, if you're willing to take a trip to Toronto or take a trip to Canada, I know y'all Americans love to come to Canada because y'all want to so damn bad. And y'all
no, we're not during winter. We're not during winter.
Y'all Americans, come on, Steve.
Hey, listen, Ashley. I'm gonna say this one time. I've heard some very stupid questions from Americans regarding about Canadians. Like, do we live in igloos? No, the frick, we don't live in igloos. We live in houses. Do I know Drake? No, I don't know Drake. Like, just because I live in Toronto does not mean I know Drake. Like, oh, anyways, I've heard so many stupid things.
My God,
it's funny. I just have to categorize Americans with Americans. I just have to do it. But but yeah, if you ever want to come take a trip down here,
you okay now, Steve? You can woosah now. You're woosah now. You okay?
Yeah, he got a little pissed. He got a little upset. But I think it's great what you guys are doing, though. I really do. And for that reason, like, you want to do that so that you can give back to the kids, like, so they can hear. Especially if y'all been on lockdown 4 times. Like, oh Jesus, bless y'all's heart.
Crazy.
Yes, I think that's awesome, man. Keep doing what you're doing too. You Chris, you as well.
Quick hitters to finish off the show. First thing that comes to mind, Ashley. I mean, shoot, to be honest, I don't even think these quick hitters can top your story for today. That was a great story, and I love what you were talking about. So but quick hitters, favorite song before a game.
Quick hitter. Jesus, wait, let's start over. No, wait. I wasn't ready. That's why it's called a quick hitter. Okay, ready to do it again.
No, you're good. There's no time limit.
So good. Right now I don't remember the correct name, but it's Joyner Lucas, Duck Duck Goose. I think that's the song. One of the Joyner Lucas songs. Duck
Goose?
What is that?
Listen to it. It's good.
All right.
You got me trying to find that song. Like, I said,
I think it's that one. Wait a minute. I think it's that song.
Duck, duck, goose. Okay, I thought that was a game we played at summer camp. But hey,
Yeah,
no. Jordan Lucas is good, y'all. Let me see. Yeah, I think it's called Duck Duck Goose.
We'll come back. We'll come back to that. We'll go back to that.
We'll go back to that. I'm gonna find it myself. So next question for you: favorite drink slogan.
Favorite what?
Favorite drink slogan.
Drake.
Yeah, not Drake.
Drake. Oh. I don't have one.
No.
Are y'all just saying Drake because y'all in can't like I don't.
No favorite drink. No, like Sprite, Coca-Cola. No favorite drink slogan.
Drink or Drake.
Drink.
Yeah.
Like
drink.
Like drink. Like drink.
Oh. Don't have one.
Mine would probably be Gatorade. It's in you.
Okay. What about you, Chris?
I'm probably Sprite to bait your thirst type of thing.
Yeah, we know you're thirsty, bro. We know you're thirsty. We know that.
Oh, easy.
Oh my gosh.
You know, Steven, I'm giving you a lot of leeway, man. This whole time.
Is he coming for you this episode, Chris?
I'm not. This episode a lot of rope. So someone's gonna get hanged, and it ain't gonna be me.
I'm just playing with you, man. I'm just playing with you. Hey, Ashley, I want to ask you though, top 3 artists or top 3 songs you listen to after you lose a game.
After I lose So is this gonna be like my babies that I coach, like this type of deal?
It could be as a coach, it could be as a player, whatever you want. What was your go-to songs to listen to when you lost, or whatever to bring you back to spirit again? I guess you could say positivity.
Oh, can I give you artists instead of songs? It was a long time ago, but can I give you? Okay, so Kendrick Lamar, Adele. That's just soaking in sadness right there with that Adele.
I'm like, that was a bad game.
Kendrick Lamar.
Sorry. I don't know. I could have.
Adele's a good artist. Okay. Kendrick Lamar, Adele, and as of recently, I really like Toby Nigwe. I don't know how to say his last name, but he's a really dope artist too. So,
I said, don't ask me to repeat that.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it. Do y'all know who he is?
No, I just found Duck Duck Goose. So you got me on. I just looked it up. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm gonna hear this after.
But no, Toby, right? Like as of now, Toby's my go-to.
Yeah.
So yeah, but Kendrick Lamar for sure, Adele and Toby.
All right, those are good ones. Those are good ones. If you were to play a pickup game with any 4 people in the world, who would it be, and how many games would it take you to win? So you're gonna pick up a game with any 4 people in the world.
Games would it take me to? Let's see. So I'm still going with Steve Nash. I'm sorry. Still.
We gotta go back to that.
Still going with Nash. I'm gonna go with Dirk.
Oh.
I'm gonna go with Chris Paul.
Okay.
And Curry.
Damn, she going real small ball. She going 4 point guards and a big.
Yo, and all of them can shoot. Well, now that's not really a shooter though, but
he can set you up. He's smart.
He can set you up. Like
he's smart. Hey, I played with a lot of smalls my entire career. Like even at Arizona, we didn't have like the biggest bigs, and we had bigs, but they couldn't.
We are not judging. We're just fascinated by that lineup. We are not judging whatsoever. That's a very an interesting lineup that we haven't heard on this show before. That's why we're shocked right now, because typically you'll hear the typical 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 players. You know what I'm saying? But for you said nah. I'm going 4 point guards and a big. That's it.
Yeah, and the big's not even a real big.
He's
And
not
the nigga's not even a real
right.
big. He's low key.
He's not a real big.
He's gonna give you that
It's
work
like-
though.
Like so, so in that case, then that was your 5. Let's all of you guys and say it was 5 games. In those 5 games, how many games are you gonna win?
All
5?
of them.
All like this.
All of them.
5 for 5. We don't care who you put on the court.
If they got
Listen.
2 bigs, Dirk gonna get one. They throw it into the other one. If they bring the ball down, we gonna duck in there. We gonna get as soon as the big bring the ball down. We getting our hand in there. We poking it out. They can't guard us on the outside because we're too quick and we can shoot. We just gonna eat them up. I didn't look. It's no doubts about it. We 5 and 5.
I love
5
it.
and 5 and listening to Adele after the game, even after the win.
She's like, here's my mixtape for your car. You drive with that. Drive with that.
That's it.
Oh,
That's
wow.
it.
Wow, that's
No,
different.
5-5.
That's a different response. I like that one. And actually, last question for you, last quick hitter for you, and then we'll cue you out. But I want to ask you, who would you like to see on Talk Your Exposure? But here's the kicker: you have to help us with your answer.
Okay. So I have to give you kind of a little bit of a back, like.
No, so what I'm saying is, who would you like to see on our podcast? But whoever you want to see on our podcast, whoever your answer is, you have to help us get them on the show.
Ooh. Okay. Here, let me go to his social media real quick. His name is Daniel Bandy.
Daniel Bandy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And hold on. His organization is Prime Time. Y'all looking at Prime Time Lab.
Prime Time Lab.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. He's out in where he's at? Out in I think he's in Memphis right now. But I can definitely help, get him on you guys' podcast. I think he has he's been training for a while. He played overseas for a while. He's a very good businessman outside of being a great trainer. Like he's one of the trainers that I watch. Mm-hmm. I don't watch a lot of he's one that I watch. We're really good friends. We plan on doing a camp together at some point. But if you guys go to his Instagram, he's good. He's a really good trainer. He does a lot of more game situational, working fast pace to slow pace. I'm gonna call them drills, just work. Like he's really good at what he does. Extremely good at what he does. Daniel Bandy.
We'll definitely take a look at
Daniel
him.
Bandy. Mm-hmm.
Hey, but Ashley, before we conclude the show, we want to ask you again one last time, where can we find you on social media?
I am SYA Hoops. That's SYAHOOPS on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. My website is also SYA Hoops.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on Twitter. Don't go on Twitter to find me. I'm not on Twitter like that. Or TikTok. I haven't gotten into that yet. But yeah, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, SYA Hoops, everywhere.
We just gave you a follow on Instagram just now. You got 6,000 plus followers. Good for you.
Thank you.
One more time again, this episode is a wrap. We are concluded. Again, I was giving a lot of banter today to Chris. Chris, I'm not apologizing to you for that. But
it's okay. I got some stuff for you. Don't worry. There's some stuff. I'm letting it brew.
Again, this is another edition of Talk Your Exposure. We appreciate everyone tuning in to listen to this episode today with Ashley Frazier. If anybody is tuned in or whoever's tuned in, make sure you guys go give her a follow at SYA Hoops on Instagram and everywhere else that she's on as well. LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. And for us as well on the Talk Your Exposure podcast, do not forget to subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Play, Apple Podcast, Google Play. Wow, there's where I mess up. You're welcome, Chris. You're welcome, Chris.
I'm gonna start ending the show. That's what's happening.
Oh,
you're crazy.
Man. But yeah, once again, if you have not done so already, make sure you guys go subscribe to us on Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you guys find your podcast from as well. If you want to hit us up on YouTube and check out our show on YouTube and see, all of our faces, including Chris's bald head, you can do that under RWI Basketball. Make sure, you guys turn on your notifications as well to see this episode and when it comes out too. So again, Ashley, we want to thank you for your time. We want to thank you for giving us some time today. And to all the viewers tuned in, listen one more time, make sure y'all go follow her on Instagram at SYA Hoops.